First story. My wife, 24F, just cheated on me after having everything for me, 26M, and without being in a bad moment in our relationship. Why? We have been together for about 4 years, and have been married for 11 months. Yesterday I found out that my wife was not at home and had sex with her internship supervisor. And I see the person I see more flaws than good things for her to have felt attraction to. I took things calmly and immediately asked for a space for both of us, because nobody really expected that. I at best thought it would have been a few messages or a date and that's it. I thought that some therapy or something in itself could help us in that case, but already in what she did I feel so betrayed that I feel that it cannot be fixed. Since we have been together we have made plans together for the future. We have shared all her college life together. I have supported her in her studies and during the courtship and marriage. I helped her financially with her studies, with the things she needed and were in my reach. We lived new experiences. We traveled and in her family we shared being like one more. When we lived together we had problems to understand each other, but then we got better and our routine felt wonderful. Every day was fun and we were happy, or at least that's how I saw it. I don't understand why she did it. And even after she did it she cried and knelt down that she was sorry, but still she had done what she had done. And I told her that we couldn't be together for these days. Well, I was thinking, but the only thing I can think of is divorce. It should be noted that I was the first person to meet her family, the first person she took with her, the first person she traveled with together, and the first person to marry her. I was the first time of everything, including having sex with her. My close friends reacted with surprise to that, and I think her family and mine would react that way too, because it doesn't make any sense what she did. Everyone saw that she was happy, she admired me and showed it with the whole family and always said something good about me, and everyone noticed the effort of everything she did for me. I think this is the biggest unfairness I feel right now, because I also gave my all and because I was trying to improve in every step and in every stumbling block I had. Update. I just found out that she has been having sex with this guy since the last month, and now I'm worried that I may have a STD. She had unprotected sex with that guy. I will do some exams and test. Now I feel worse. Update. My wife cheated on me and I had to separate because I had problems in bed. The worst feeling I've had so far. I had been married to her for 11 months and almost 4 years of relationship. In general we had a good life. And I went through many stages with her and supported her. But there came a time and tragedy struck. She cheated on me. Things were difficult. She had sex with her own supervisor in his internship after it ended, and it was difficult. Because in the end she was with me and we had relations while she was with him. I have no idea why. In the end it happened twice, and she didn't measure the consequences and had unprotected sex with that person and then with me. In the end, when we confronted everything, she said that it was not totally her fault, that it was not justified either, but that we had problems in bed, and that she was looking for a way to feel something different, to know if all men were the same. Her first time was with me and she was like that since then. We had problems, and it was really hard for me to do it. I had erectile dysfunction at times. I don't know if it was the stress or if I got tense. It didn't happen all the time. It only happened 4 or 5 times in our relationships and in the last 3-4 months. Then I had to last a while with condoms because she could not take pills because of the side effects, and 1 month ago when she had to take them again, I began to suffer from premature ejaculation. I always suffered a little and was getting better, but recently worsened. With condoms is different. I can last longer. The problem started because we didn't have as much frequency as I expected, and I would end up falling into pornography and masturbation, and my performance and desire would drop. I would try to quit and then fall back in again. It was difficult. Sometimes I wanted to try more, and she would change the schedules and things like that. The problem was escalating and things like that were happening, and well, stuff happens. Even so, I think I feel partly guilty. because I felt that I should have improved that and I should have tried more. But it was difficult whenever I asked her. There was discomfort and she felt that I didn't love her. And she got really upset when things didn't go well, and she would just leave the room and we wouldn't talk again all day. And getting close didn't work. I think I felt humiliated every time I didn't do well. But I felt that it was just a phase of mine. I was just going through a bad time and I was lost in my life, and I didn't have much motivation. Maybe I'm not to blame, and she still should have helped me and all that, but still, being told that, it really lowers my morale a lot. I had to say it. I won't come back with her, but damn, it's really hard to think about all this. Second story. Girlfriend of 10 years has an STD. Am I doomed? I really do need some advice right now. I'm sorry in advance, BC English is not my first language. Sorry for the long post and thank you for taking time reading all this. So my girlfriend, F26, of 10 years told me, M26, about 3 years ago that she made a blood test and is positive of herpes genitalis. She had to test her own blood during her study in university as in course in a laboratory. We met at school and became a couple really quick. We shared our first time together and there was no red flag or STH, similar up until this day 3 years ago. She told me right away that an infection could have happened during birth, and this is what I believed, but it still bothered me ever since. I really didn't look into this deeper cause I trust and believe her, but it came to my mind now and then. But I played it off as simple stupid thoughts of doubt without any proof whatsoever. Maybe I just wanted to ignore and forget it. I really don't know. ATM. After reading a lot of stories about cheating partners and infidelity, this story came right back to my mind a few weeks ago, and there's no day going by without me thinking about it. I had to know more. That's why I decided to search online for the HPV, and the chance of getting it during birth is extremely low. Normally you get it during intimacy, blowjob or sex, you know what I mean. Well, I confronted her with the situation and my doubts. She laughed at me and my concerns, more like a nervous laugh, and told me the only man she ever slept with was me. I do trust her and she's the love of my life. I never cheated on her and I love her dearly. She is my best friend and stayed with me during clinical depression. Am I getting crazy? My gut feeling tells me I'm missing STH, but I feel horrible after bringing up this topic. Do you think I'm overreacting? I would appreciate your opinion. Thanks. Because I got the question in the comments, it's the HSV2, herpes simplex virus type 2, genital herpes. Update. The last week since my last post were rough. I considered a lot of your tips and I can say I'm ducked up right now. For the context, please check my first post. So, I don't even know where to start. First of all, my test was rescheduled due to my doc being sick. Duck my life. As you can imagine, I still tried to get behind all of this, but yeah. When I asked her, I immediately got angry. She denied any of it. She claimed she got it from her mother during birth. There has never been any other person. I told her that I don't believe her and I want proof that her mother has it too. She didn't provide it but played it off as I am crazy on this and I'm just insecure. She told me she loves me and that I'm the one causing trouble in our relationship. I should just grow up and stop making things up. I cried. I didn't know if I can trust myself and my guts or not. Maybe I am crazy and I just imagined all of those things. I read Truffier massages again and I was reassured in my thoughts. So I started my research. Fast forward, I waited for the right time. I took a look at her chats. I found it. I'm absolutely not happy about it. When I found it, I felt relief but also I was completely destroyed. She wrote a friend of her girl that I was asking a lot about this lately and she doesn't understand. She wrote, "Did you tell him anything?" And she replied, "No, why would I? It's 3 years ago, why is it a problem now?" I had what I needed screenshot, sent to me, deleted on her phone. I confronted her. I led her into a conversation about how she felt when I was away for weeks, almost a year. She told me she felt left behind and missed me a lot and waited day after day for me to come home. She told me loves me so much and she is glad I'm always there for her and she'll always be there for me. So asked her who was there for her when I was away. She began a story about her friends and her family, but I interrupted her immediately. I told her to come clean now or leave. I told her I saw the texts and if she really loves me as she said, she has to tell me the whole story. She tried to play it off as a whole nother story, and I misunderstood everything, but I stood my ground and told her to quit this shit. After a few minutes she started to cry. She told me she was alone and I wasn't there for her. Her friend girl cared for her and came up to her on a weeknight. They cooked, drank and ended up sleeping together. She told me she was so sorry, didn't consider sleeping with a bother woman as cheating, and she didn't want to destroy a relationship just because of this small oopsie. There it was. I didn't know what to say, feel or do. I just stood there, empty, like a rock inside of your stomach. I kicked her out. No comment, no questions. I know what to do right now and get out of this relationship. Search someone to trust. I love her. As soon as I make up my mind, I will let you know, guys. Thanks a lot. I will answer questions now and then, but for now I'm going to get a few drinks with my best bud. Cheers. Third story. I know it gets easier. I discovered my wife's CA about 4 weeks ago. I haven't thought of much else since. I own a business and have a massive amount of responsibility, but I can't concentrate. I know it's going to get better because time. I went on vacation the week after finding out and tried looking at women as a single guy, and it made me want to throw up. I hate this. Update. Songs and poems about impossible love. We're in the midst of our From My WWZA. How many acronyms can I jam into one sentence? I think one of the most crushing things about the EA is my WW turning to songs and poetry to express her feelings about impossible love. This discovery really sucks. Well, I don't expect my wife to be infatuated with me until the end of time. It is awful to know that she wishes circumstances were different, and she has to settle with seeing the AP in her dreams, or in another lifetime. I don't doubt her love for me, but it feels far less significant than it did before D-Day. Update. Another business trip, and my anxiety spikes. My WW travels for work, sometimes as much as 2 weeks a month. In mid-March, while she was on a business trip, I found the texts of her EA with a co-worker who lives near the location of her travel. She leaves tomorrow for another trip, and my anxiety has hit the ceiling. I want to pepper her with questions and obsess about her plans and itinerary, but that doesn't do any good. Never in a million years did I think I would be here. I hate this. Rant. Update. Navigating R while perpetually feeling like a dupe. I think my biggest struggle through R isn't the actual EA that occurred. Originally, I could wrap my head around getting to a spot in my life where I accept that this happened and move on. And then I found the texts of my WW gleefully showing off photos of her AP to her friends. I feel so exceptionally humiliated, but also stunned that my WW would so brazenly and thoughtlessly discuss the new guy living rent-free in her head to her friends. Via text, risking our marriage, our family, and the life we had built. I don't know how to stay in the marriage while living with the knowledge that she was willing to throw everything away. Any ideas or thoughts are welcome. Update. We're officially on a break. My WW, 43F, and I, 43M, were doing fairly well since D-Day, 4 months ago. However, over the past 3 or 4 weeks, things have gone from nice to pretty crappy. Earlier this week, we had a massive fight, and after a day of not talking to each other, she sat down next to me and said that she would like a break. Then she stood up and walked away. To say I'm devastated is an understatement. I literally don't know what to do. Where do I sleep? Who's watching the kids? Etc. 4 months ago, if you would have told me this was going to be my relationship, I would have laughed in your face. I just needed to post this because I don't have anyone to talk to. Thanks for reading. Fourth story. GF cheated. Long story. I'm writing this just to vent. My girlfriend Emma and I were together for a long time. But in March of this year, I found on her phone, she was texting other guys and entertaining them and flirting. We went through a lot of stuff to get through that. I even was lied to about her body count, which doesn't matter, but when you think you're their second, and you're their 13th, that's a fucking problem. There were so many red flags that I chose to overlook and thought we were working past, but oh boy was I wrong. She had even wrote in her notes, because she was using the app as like a diary, that she always cheated and didn't feel bad about it. I know she didn't physically cheat on me, but in my opinion, sometimes emotional cheating can be worse anyways. She had a list of guys that she had slept with. That's how I figured out I wasn't her second body. In the list was her best friend's boyfriend's name that will come into play later on. There was more stuff too. She used her notes to talk about guys she liked while being with me. Of them is one of her other friends' ex-husbands. She wrote in there about how she was falling for him. It took a while, but I forgave her. We never really had any major issues until just a couple days ago, when she broke up with me on July 9th and gave me no reason and wouldn't speak to me. But she told me she was coming back and that she would see no one else and she just needed space. I tried to give her space, but my intuition just told me that something was very wrong. I continued to try to talk to her and tried to figure out what was wrong. She would go hot and cold. She would be so sweet to me one minute and tell me how much she loves me, and the next minute, she was ghosting me for hours or responding with no more than 3 words. Finally yesterday, after going round and round in circles for 3 days, feeling sick to my stomach, not being able to sleep or eat without throwing up, I called her from a friend's phone, and she answered immediately. We had a very short conversation and I just was venting to her, but I heard a man and a baby in the background at the end of it. She told me she would call me back that night, and then she told me she promised. I told her I love you, and she said I know, and then I said I love you again, and she said I know. When I asked her if she loved me, she said she did, and then I said I love you one more time, and then she finally said it back. Earlier in the day, one of her co-workers, which is a close friend of mine, had told me she was at the park with her friend and their kid. I figured it was her friend that has a child with the ex-husband I talked about earlier, but I still was just feeling a little crazy honestly, so I texted her friend and asked if her son was with her. She told me no, and I said I'm pretty sure Emma is with your ex-husband and your son. And she asked me if they were at a park earlier. Everything finally said it, and I then texted her best friend and asked her if Emma had told her about sleeping with her boyfriend, and to my surprise, of course not, and that was one of the conditions for us getting back together at this point. She is spam texting me, trying to flip it on me and telling me that it's comical that I am acting this way. I confronted her and told her that she made me feel like I was wrong. She told everyone I was controlling and abusive. I gave this girl everything. I guess it's controlling to not let your girlfriend fuck other guys and talk to other guys. LOL. She even tried to manipulate me by telling me that the countless time, the countless memories, the countless love was going away because of me. But I didn't let that get to me because I begged for her for 3 days. This was also sudden. We spent 4th of July with my family, and on July 2nd, I was literally at the hospital when her sister-in-law and her brother had a child. I met the baby after their parents did. LOL. Finally, towards the end of it, she just started telling me that I was crazy, and then blocked me on everything. Today I deleted all social media, besides Reddit and YouTube, deleted the accounts and wiped myself from the internet. I do feel better when the truth finally came out, and now at least I'm not waiting while she's out doing what she's doing. I still have a friend that has her on Snapchat and she's being perfectly fine. She also unblocked all of the guys she cheated on me with, and about the Snapchat, she deleted her Snapchat when she cheated, so she made this new one, and in 3 days, she had her Snap scores already up to 4. 000. What's sad is I would still even hear her out. I don't think I could ever get back with her, but I would hear her out. I would talk. But of course my peace of mind, my feelings and my heart. What's sad is I would still even hear her out. I don't think I could ever get back with her, but I would hear her out. I would talk. But of course, my peace of mind, my feelings and my heart mean nothing. But now I'm just left wondering if she will ever reach out. Or if she even loved me. I made a impulse decision and enlisted in the Air Force, so at least in the next month or two, I will be away from this place and have my mind occupied. Fifth story. Wife cheated over a decade ago. Posting on a throwaway to avoid friends' family finding out. Buckle up. It's a long story. My wife, 32F, and I, 33M, have been married for 7 years and together for 16. We started dating in high school when I was 16 and she was 15. Neither of us were very good people in high school. I was a terrible boyfriend and she ended up cheating on me with 2 different guys during the first few months of the relationship. I first found out about this after we were dating for a year when she confessed that she kissed someone else. I decided to forgive her and move on. Fast forward to 2 years into the relationship. I found out that it wasn't just a kiss. It was full-blown cheating, and it happened with 2 different times with different guys, not just the one. I discovered this when her friend pulled me aside and told me that I deserved better and explained what happened. This was incredibly tough for me. I was devastated this time around because by this point I had fallen in love with her. I probably should have left then, but she swore that it would never happen again, that it was a stupid mistake and that it was because I neglected her, which I did. I once again decided to forgive her. After that, things started to get better. I started becoming a better person and really grew into a respectable member of society during college. We went to different universities but saw each other so frequently it didn't feel like long distance. After graduation we moved in together and things were great. We ended up getting married once we were both established and have been mostly happy since. We have 2 kids, M6 and M3, a house, and have what most people think of as a goals relationship, or so I thought. Fast forward to last night. I had grabbed her phone to look something up and curiously got the better of me. We have an open phone policy, and she has been fine with me looking through things. If I was in my head about the past, I found a set of deleted messages from a very short period in college where we were broken up, where she was messaging multiple different guys. There was no evidence of anything physical or even a meet-up in them, but they were clearly flirting, and she had always told me that she never talked to anyone when we were on this break. I confronted her about it, and at first she pretended she didn't know what I was talking about before admitting that she wasn't sure if we were getting back together, and was trying to feel better about herself. Her dishonesty triggered all my old feelings, and I told her I didn't know if I could do this anymore. It makes me physically sick to think about breaking up our family. Our boys and family life is everything I could have ever wanted. They love our family dynamic, and I just can't bear the thought of shattering their world. I didn't want to throw away what we had built, but I needed some reassurances. I told my wife that I wanted paternity tests and for her to take a polygraph to prove that there were not other times when she was unfaithful. She agreed to all of this but looked shook. She then came to me a couple hours later and confessed that there was a 3rd guy. This time was when I was a freshman in college and she was still a senior in high school. This is after she admitted to the first 2 times and told me it would never happen again. This has completely destroyed me. I don't even know what to think or believe. She swears there was no one else and that it never happened more than once with each of the guys, but I don't really believe anything she says. She still is willing to take the polygraph to prove that she has been faithful since graduating high school. I am at a loss as to what to do. She has been the perfect wife and mother since we have gotten married. She has clearly grown a ton as a person, and I do not believe anything like this would happen again. I don't want to break my family up, but I just don't know if I can look at her the same One of the hardest parts is that since marriage, she has become my best friend and I don't want to lose that either. I know I'm ranting but I'm just broken up about this. Do I leave over something that happened so long ago? What if she passes the polygraph? Is there any way through this or do I just need to bite the bullet and leave? She says she will do anything to make this work and is begging for us to try marriage counseling, but I just don't know. Divorce is the last thing I want but I just don't know if I have any other choice. Sixth story. Not sure what to do. I, 45M, have been married to my wife, 44F, for just shy of 20 years. I discovered her cheating with a guy that we both knew who worked at a place that we both frequently hang out several months ago, and she, reluctantly, I think, ended it with this guy. We worked it out and our relationship actually got better for a while. We were both more attentive, affectionate and all that. It was one of those situations where we came out stronger after adversity. I had no reason to believe this had ever happened before, but I became more vigilant because it shook me pretty badly. She's outgoing and flirty, and always has been, so I was always accepting of a little borderline behavior from other guys around, but I never worried about any of them. After this incident, I started keeping tabs, snooping or doing reconnaissance, depending on your point of view, on her text and social media activity but really acting in an untrusting way. I noticed she was keeping her phone close a lot more since then, so I got suspicious. Long story shorter, she's now talking to a guy on Snapchat, a random stranger as far as I can tell. She is carrying on the same sexual conversations as she did before and they are planning a meetup at a hotel strictly for sex. I'm gathering date, time, location still. My question is, how do I handle this? My thoughts are that this meeting may never happen since he is married and lives in the next state, so there is more than 1 hour travel for a halfway meet. So do I just wait it out to see, or do I confront now? Or do I confirm the details and show up there to catch them in the act? Or let it happen, document it then confront so I have more ammo in a divorce proceeding? I am normally a very rational and logical person, but for the life of me, I can't think straight on this. I cycle among anger, sadness, apathy and anything in between. I'm looking for any different points of view and perspective to help me figure out what to do. She has no clue I know anything about this. One more note. We have 12-year-old daughter and a house we just bought that neither of us could afford on our own. I'm trying to think of her well-being as well, so divorce is the last thing I want for her. Edit for more info. First, I want to thank everyone for your comments. You've given me a lot to think about and most of the advice is great. I'm doubtful I'll get to reply to many, but I will have read them all. To those that say to get a DNA test for my daughter, I'll say that I am 100% sure she's mine, so that's not necessary. To those that say to get an STI panel for me, 100% I'm doing that. I have photo evidence of many of the conversations, including pictures, and I'm still gathering more. I can't present anything to the new guy's wife, since I only have a generic Snapchat username and a general idea of where he lives, but the previous guy, we know his wife pretty well too.